because on Saturday I was able to be here. I saw Mrs. Bitterman for a second. Come and work with the girls, the 6th grade girls that came over, and I guess they said it was our biggest group that we've had in a long time. There was 34 girls in each class. I had 4 sessions, and I was teaching them healthy choices. And we got into body image and wellness and how we perceive our bodies and so forth. But what a great group of girls. They came in and they were polite, and they were, by the 4th session, because I had 4 sessions, by the 4th session they were a lot more friendlier, they were a lot more confident. So I think what we were trying to establish that day was building their confidence, and it worked. So that was really fun to be a part of that. So anyone else have anything else they want to share for good things? Yes.
This weekend I went to San Diego and got engaged, so that was kind of cool.
Congratulations! Now, why San Diego?
Well, we always talked about going to the San Diego Zoo because we met at the Phoenix Zoo, so it was kind of like a big thing that we're gonna go and just kind of check out.
So, did you propose to her in the San Diego Zoo?
Yeah.
In front of what animal? This is important.
To get the visual.
I need a visual.
Sorry, I've done it for the kids today. It was actually in front of the animals in this little like garden off to the side. There was like a monarch butterfly like they did it, so it was really cool.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, congratulations. That's very nice.
Thought about the Lion King in case she said no. But...
Right. Be done with her. Not my fault. She fell in. Right. That was nice of you to pick the garden area instead. Nice.
Safe bet.
Kim, you had your hand up. I saw you dancing over here, so it's got to be good.
2 weekends ago on the 28th, or maybe it was last weekend, I got them all confused. I took a student over to Prescott, and I had my driver, thank you, and Christopher Hall auditioned for the regional band, which is a large portion of northern Arizona, and he was accepted as one of 12 students as trumpet.
Wow.
So,
Congratulations.
woo woo, I'm all excited.
Very nice.
So,
And you got to be down when he went. Was it an audition that he went to that you guys drove him up to?
yes,
And then how long was his audition?
like 5 minutes. He was in and out.
Did they get to pick their own song? Do they have a certain song they
No,
had to?
they were given 3 etudes that they had to play and perform, 2 scales that they had to have out of 6 memorized, and a chromatic scale. So all memorized from there. And then the next step from here is the very first weekend of May. That Friday night, we have to head up to Page because that's right where the big festival is happening. He rehearses Friday night. There are 3 rehearsal sessions Saturday morning, and then he does a Saturday afternoon concert.
And how often do they get together and he'll play for the regional band?
Just that one weekend.
Just the one weekend?
Yep, so we'll do all the extra work here with the music that he's given.
Okay, then they come together.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm
Anybody
excited.
else have anything they would like to share?
I'll share.
Yes, you
Some
should.
of you guys already saw, but my daughter performed at the community choir concert yesterday and was just amazing. I don't like to come off as one of those braggy moms, but it was like sold out. Both of the performances were pretty much almost sold out, like the whole pack, and nobody clapped as loud for anybody as they did for her. So it was really cool.
And then did you pick the song that she sang?
I did not pick the song that she sang. She picked the song that she sang. She did It Last by Etta James. And it was pretty...
So good.
It was. It was
was
so
amazing.
good.
I just think that song was good for her tone.
Yeah.
It kept her in her wheelhouse.
She
where
likes-
she can sing. And
She likes old jazz, big band. I don't know where... I introduced it to her, but I didn't expect her to like it so much. So,
she's so soulful.
yeah.
That was an amazing performance.
Yeah. Thank you. I was proud. She did it because she auditioned for a scholarship, and she received a scholarship, so they were showcasing her talent. So it was cool.
And what is that scholarship for?
It's to continue vocal lessons. So it was for any kind of music. It was a scholarship. It was an audition for musically talented students, and she had to audition, and then it's just to continue her, to go towards more vocal training. So, or whatever kind of music training she wants to put it towards. So.
Does she want to try to get into school, like a university or even We
you know,
talked about getting to high schools, that are more music-based and...
we've talked about it. There's one in Long Beach that she's interested in.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's Amber Alert. I got two. Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's okay. I've always wanted to get the Amber Alerts, and I don't. Even though I set it in my settings, I still don't get them. Anyways, I don't. We talked about Juilliard, but I don't know. She's like really into being. She wants to be a astrophysicist. What is it? Something like that. I don't know. She wants to be a scientist too, so she's like divided. I told her that's a good backup plan, but I know she loves singing like more than anything. So
Right.
yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, I've done this before, but in PE we usually wait until everybody shares because we choose to do good things on Monday. And then I always tell the kids this is how we get our rhythm in for the day, unless they want us to teach them square dancing, and they really don't want that. So they follow along with this. So on the count of 2, you're going to stomp right, left, and then 2 claps. So ready? 1, 2.
All right.
Nice.
Sorry. All right, I just have a couple reminders and announcements, and then I'm going to turn it over to Heather for Destinations Decade. So, Friday, this is a busy week, obviously. Thursday, we have early release, and then we have our Capture Kids Hearts, our CKH Recharge. So that is counting as your 301 PD. So make sure you're here for that. And that it's going to start right at, what did we say, 1:30? 1:15. So we'll get you, if you have duty outside, we're going to scoot you in and we'll get started right away on that. And then Friday, we have our PBIS assembly at noon-ish, and you're going to send out all those details. We also have our National Honor Society Day of Service, and they're going to do a field day. Now, our students are a part of it, but...
My NJHS kids were invited to help run stations, but I'm not certain how they were determining the other kids that were participating.
I've got all
I
that.
haven't heard that.
I've got all that. So the kids that were drawn for PBIS for their bingo board last week, they are going to be participating. So it's around 100 students. So it's Friday. They will not be in your class. We'll get the list out to you. I'm hoping that was a good day to choose because it's the day before spring break, so it's fewer kids in your class. Hopefully. So
There's 100 from the PBIS boards? Okay, and there's 70 NJHS, so it'll be 170 kids, which will be,
Will it be all day? Is that all day? I'm sorry.
until the field day is I think until 11:30. So those kids will then come in and go right to the assembly. So pretty much, yeah. And the high school NHS they're organizing all this. So I'm making the assumption that they know how many of our kids there are.
okay.
Is this related to the Starline game scores last year? Because I have a few kids telling me that they're going to Starline all day that day for some activity that the principal Murray.
That's what I've heard from a few of them.
too.
I've heard it as well.
Haven't told me about those, because that might cross over some of my kids and I
Well, Friday's going to be really exciting.
The 6th graders from last year, they're telling me that. Taylor Thompson told me that, Addie Beckman.
And they're there for the day.
And it's already on their attendance too, Mrs. Mulligan. It says FLD.
Say FLB already. Are the kids on the PBIS are they listed in attendance yet, or is it just not yet? Okay, thank you.
No, because they'll go to your first period class. Well, I'll check on that. Thank you for bringing that up. It's very likely that I have an email where I confirmed that was fine for him to do that, so I'm sure it's there. So, just take a deep breath. It's going to be a little bit of a kooky day. So Adam, are you thinking they're gone all day?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm going to tell Mr. Murray that he has to keep them all day. That's part of the deal. Okay. So details about all that specifically, really with the field day, it's just a matter of just know some of those kids are going to be out. So if you're involved, 8th grade teachers, or if you signed up to chaperone the 8th grade dance, We had, in the end, it ended up being about 15 and more students that there's a conflict with the Grace Sand dance recital. And it's some 8th grade and some 7th graders who were on the committee to decorate for the dance. So we moved the dance back to the old tradition of Wednesday, May 20th, which is the last week of school. It's the day before the last day of school. So we'll get that. If you were signed up to chaperone, if that's a conflict, let us know, because I know we're changing it on you. And I don't normally do that, but it just was too many kids involved, and we were able to confirm the DJ and all that stuff. So the pro of it is it doesn't take our weekend. The downside is it's a school night, but it's before the last day of school. Back when I was here before, we went till 10. That was brutal. We don't do that anymore. We changed that my first year. So now it's till 9, and they're pretty fast cleaning up and everything. So
6 to 9?
6 to 9.
You said May 20th, right?
May 20th, so it's Wednesday. So the other challenge, and Mike's aware of this, is getting decorations and all that stuff during the day. 8th grade teachers, the biggest thing that will affect you is kids start checking out to go get their hair done. So I thought about that, and I thought, do we care or not? That our 8th graders are going to be not here. So just be prepared for that. So I think what we'll do this year is let's try it. And again, this used to be how it always was. What I learned is that weekend will always be the Grace Ann dance recital. So if it works okay this year, then we'll just put it back to this is our tradition, and we'll go from there. So we're pushing out all that information to parents tomorrow. Okay, so a few reminders. I've sent out emails, but in case you missed them or you didn't read them, skimmed them, movies are on my radar right now. Because sometimes, and I hope I sent the emails out, so hopefully you've already addressed this, but it's never okay for a student to sit in a movie 2 periods. And we had some students Friday that were in 3 periods of movies for 72 minutes. And then we may wonder why they're getting written up for misbehaving. I would too. So those of you that have known me for a long time, you have to convince me that there's an educational reason to have a kid sit and watch a movie for 72 minutes. You have to convince me of that. And I don't, I kind of just trust that, but just be careful about that. So if you're showing a movie, if you have a plan to show it for 72 minutes, if I walk through, you just need to be ready to what's the content that's really important for 72 minutes, okay? And there should, I'm going to use the word never, be a time that a kid is sitting through 2 movies. I wouldn't do that to you, okay? So that's just communication. So it needs to be content related, and you all talk with one another about that. So the other thing that I want you to be really conscious and very thoughtful of is, it seems like a really easy, not easy, to leave when you're going to have a sub to leave a movie. It's almost the worst thing you can do, because kids aren't going to be engaged in a movie for 72 minutes. So what are they doing that whole time? So again, be very intentional about if you're going to have a kid sit for 72 minutes with a sub. That's when we see the highest number of disruptions. So the best way to plan for a sub is you load those kids up with so much work they can't even possibly finish it. And you don't punish them when they don't. You don't punish them when they don't. But just be careful of that. And what I've seen happen is we kind of go in waves, where all of a sudden I think we just get tired, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, where are all these movies coming from? So just be real, and just keep the word intentional in mind with your movies. So, and if I can clarify anything on that, certainly talk to me. Okay, the other reminder that this is a time of year where, and I feel it in myself, we're all tired. kids are tired. They're more active, we're more tired. And that's a perfect storm, because that means I'm not quite out in the hallway. This is the time of year where Jamie and I, and we're pretty close to being done with the formal evaluations, but this last couple months keeps us out of the hallways a lot, because we're either in formals or we're in post-conferences, so we can't help as much. That, again, we're pretty much done with that, so we should be able to be visible again, but the closer it gets to the end of the year, the more I need you to move in with structure out in the hallway, before school, after school, between classes, at all times. Just make yourself visible. I just planted myself right in the middle when the 8th graders were coming up today from lunch. I'll take that smoothie, give me that bag of candy. I just planted myself there. And there's no way we would have seen that had I not just been right there. So I'm sure they do it other times and they didn't get caught, but time and place. It's just the more visible we are, the more they're going to go, don't even try it, because someone's going to catch you. So if you could just really help each other out with that. If you're having a really hard day, check in with your neighbor. And then final reminder, which you guys are so amazing at, is when you see that list in the morning of who's out, we've got some people out with being sick, and also family members dealing with some things. So if I know, thank you, because you were right over there. You both were down there supporting DRC today. So that's the number one feedback I hear from subs, is how amazing you all are with that. So I know I don't have to say that, but if you see who my neighbors on there, go check in, because sometimes it's their first time here, and it can be hard, but you all are great with that. So is there anything with real quick before we turn over to Heather, anything with you guys, Student Council, Renaissance? Nope. Nobody? Okay. You're on, Heather.
Thanks. Hello, ladies and gents. You make me feel so happy to be alive. Okay, we're going to talk about Destination Decades. I already had a meeting with all of the new teachers, so this should be as fast as I can talk and as fast as you can listen on a Monday afternoon. So most of the information that the new teachers didn't have, they have, and I also already had a meeting with the English department who's doing rollout. So if the English teachers are really stressed at the beginning of next quarter because of Destination Decades, tell them you love them, because they are doing all of the work. I am not. They are doing it. Well, I'm one of them. So today we are going to talk about teams and numbers. We are going to talk about a couple of changes from last year to this year. We're going to talk about grading, because that's one of the major changes from last year to this year that I'm happy with. And we're going to talk about projects, the calendar, and your mentor packet, aka what the heck do you do with children during 0 hour. So we're going to start with teams and numbers. If you open your folder, the first thing that you see is the teams. I tried to put the folder in order, so hopefully it will make sense. Most of the teams should be logical. The only differences would be that the blended learning teachers are split amongst the 3 7th grade teams. The blended learning children were split according to their math teacher, with the exception of 4 lovely children who I had to take away from Miss Lee because she has all of them. So, and then we moved Miss Bitterman into Team 7-1, even though that means she's not with her hallway friends. Sorry, hearts to you. Because she knows most of the kids that I sent over from blended learning to that team, so at least they have someone on that team that they will recognize and be familiar with, and there's a mentor on that team who knows them. That's the purpose of those splits. I also assign resource teachers to the grade that they teach most during the day, and I assign exploratory teachers by where do I need people who are boys and girls and old teachers, new teachers, blah, 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 blah. So anybody weirded out by who's on their team? Okay. Also, Team 8-1 does have an extra person, but they also have 20 extra students, so they deserved an extra person. Let's talk about a couple of changes from last year to this year. So, we are changing the Destination Decades Day, if you remember the chaos of that scavenger hunt, watch the videos in your room, scavenger hunt, parents in your classroom, blah. That is not happening this year. Social studies teachers are going to be taking students around the day of Destination Decades because I still want them to see each other's projects. I think that that's a needed aspect of this publication thing. They have to be able to see what each other has done and show it off to their friends. But the social studies teachers are going to do that throughout the day. There are only going to be a few kids down here at a time, and the parents are not invited until the evening hours, which I think is like 5:30 to 7:30 or something like that. So you won't have parents in your classroom that day or during the after-school period. Is that logical? Those of you who were here last year, we are not changing to early release schedule that day, so it'll just be whatever that day is, like normal content. Okay. We also have added an extra 4 0 hours. So those of you that were here last year will think about the Ames week, the rewards thing that we did with the hour in the afternoon, where they went to like a team activity or Frozen was in the gym, and then they like had tech time. We are not doing that reward system this year. We have replaced that time with 0 hour. Last year, the student packet, the last page, the last question was, how can we make Destination Decades better? And I read like 60 to 70% of those packets, which was a lot, and like most of them said we needed more time. We needed more time to research and more time to type and print stuff out. And so I'm trying to give them more time, but also like spring break happens, so I can't give them that much more time, and then the end of the year happens and like, goodbye. So we have decided to give them 4 extra days during Ames week. And we're going to look at that in a couple of minutes, so we'll look at the calendar. But other than that, the biggest change is grading. So if you can go to the rubric pages in your folder, just keep flipping. You'll see interviews and rubrics for projects. So last year the numbers were kind of skewed, and we weren't really satisfied with how the grading worked. I know the committee did a really, really good job trying really hard last year to get those numbers to make sense, but it just didn't work in actuality the way that we thought it would in like reality, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So this year it's super clear. Exactly half of their grade comes from the work that they do as an individual student, and that would be the interview that you conduct with them. More information on that next quarter. And the packet that you are grading, and we're going to look at that today. The other 50% of their grade comes from the project that they create as a group. 20% of it is their, 40% of that is their trifold, and then 30/60% is the project thing, the model, the video, the timeline, the dress, whatever they're going to create. Does that make sense? So if you're here last year and the numbers were weird to you, we're trying. We're working on it, trying to make them better. This year, hopefully we've made it so that they earn the grade that they earn based not only on the choices they make about who they're going to work with, but also the work that they put in themselves. And you do not have to grade the projects. Yay! You get to grade the interviews and the packets, but that's easy.
Good questions for those.
Yeah, not the thing. Information overload, I thought. Okay, we're gonna look at the projects. I did not print them out for you, but I will show them to you on my Google Doc. There are 6 per grade this year. So there were 22 last year. There are 12. And 6 of them are for 7th graders and 6 of them are for 8th graders, with the hope that we can just reuse them because the 7th graders will become the 8th graders, etc. Well, that's the hope anyway. So these are what they look like. They should look relatively familiar to you if you were here last year. And new teachers, you already had copies of these to look at, but it starts with a background. And the purpose of the background is to kind of give the students an idea of what angle we are coming at when we're introducing this project to them. So, for example, in the very first project available for 7th graders, we're asking them to think about mass marketing as well as mass production, and we're kind of introducing the idea of how marketing of foods changed over the 1900s. Then there are 3 research questions, and they are questions for a reason. So I believe strongly in questions. I like them. Questions don't have yes or no answers if you do them right. And these questions don't have necessarily right or wrong answers, but they have a guidance. So if you are going to look up what is mass marketing, there are a lot of aspects to mass marketing. If you've done a good job at answering it, you know what mass marketing is. You've had to look at more than just Wikipedia. If you have to talk about why do companies use them, maybe you need to research more than one company because it says companies plural. So the purpose of the research questions is to get them started, and those are where we take their interview questions from. So if you have students in your classroom saying, what do you mean this interview thing? What's this interview thing? I'm freaked out about this interview thing. That's where we're going to get the questions from the interview. They're right there on the paper in front of them. So if they can answer those 3 questions, they're going to ace their interview. If they're slacking, they're going to slack. That's what's going to happen. Okay? You'll notice then, and hopefully the students will notice with your guidance, that the trifold board, the required information for the board, is very similar to the questions. So like, include information on mass marketing, its definition, and its history, and how it works, and how it has changed, and information on these 3 companies, which were mentioned up here. So the point of the questions is to get them started. The point of the required information is to tell them, this is what your grader is looking for. When someone comes to grade your trifold, they are looking to make sure that you have the definition of mass marketing and some history on it, and information about the campaigns of these companies. So it's basically like a checklist for them. Does that make sense so far? Okay, those will always be similar. They are based off of each other. All of the projects are like that. The biggest change for the projects this year is that we have 5 options for what they can create. Last year we had a lot of projects and very few options for each project. So there are 22 projects that had 2 options each. This year we only have 6 for them to pick from, but once they've chosen that project, they have 5 different things that they can do with that project. And we try to make them kind of like respond to the different kinds of kids that we have. So a lot of them have something that involves computers and like logo making or video making or music video making, drawing on the computer. Anybody that's good with like really tech stuff, that's going to be the project for them. But there are also things like just writing out information, creating diagrams and graphs, and stuff that's going to be interesting to different kinds of kids. Who's going to be interested in planning a giant celebrity wedding versus somebody who's going to be interested in creating a campaign for a new kind of cereal. So we tried really hard to give them more creative ways to go with the same basic project. Logical? Okay, so you will see these projects eventually, but I felt like giving you 12 projects right now is kind of pointless because you don't need to know the project, you just need to help them get to know the project. So didn't want to just hand you a billion pieces of paper for no reason. All of the projects look like that, I promise. And you can see them if you want to. I will show them. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the calendar, which I think is next, if I did the packet right. Okay. It happens. It really does. And right after I think on the, never mind. Okay, calendar. Let's look at the calendar. So during testing week, which is in bold on the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th of April, we are going to start with eliminating first period. I might have put this in the wrong order. Do you guys have a bell schedule somewhere in your packet?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
second
page it.
You rock. I did it in the wrong order, but we'll try it anyway. So if you look at the first bell schedule at the top, it says the AIMS testing week or the AZ Merit testing week bell schedule. As far as Ms. Clark has told me, the testing time period will be the same, 8 to 11, and then we've chosen to eliminate first period. The committee thought about this for a long time, but the opinions were, A, your first period children stare at you for 3 hours, and you stare at them for 3 hours, and then like usually you have to stare at them for like another 35 minutes, and like, goodbye. So we eliminated first period, and also since we're not teaching content that can be assessed that week, usually it's just like preparation for review or some other kind of activity that you do as a department. Like there's no real harm done in losing first period for that amount of time. You see them in the morning anyway, and I know the exploratory department, you'll get like sort of a prep during testing time period. So it's you will lose your actual prep, but you'll have time to yourself. Go ahead.
So, testing is first period kids?
Yeah, you're with your first grade students for that time.
So during that week, I'm sorry, I can't remember, do we have to have grades?
It's true, yeah, it's not stuff that you assess that week because we're testing all week. And you will get them back for Friday, so this is just Monday through Thursday, and then you'll get the lovely kiddos back on Friday normal. I'm not involved with Friday. Bell's schedule looks normal on Friday. So that's what the testing week will look like, and 0 hour will be at the end of the day, which is a little scary to me. We purposefully have never put 0 hour at the end of the day because it was of the opinion of everybody last year that was involved that like children trying to work on a group project with teachers they're not normally with on a weird schedule at the end of the day is just a disaster. But we have to be able to take attendance and like I have to be able to get them into like their classrooms, and we're gonna try it at the end of the day. We're gonna try it, and if it epic fails and it's horrible, then next year we'll try it in the middle of the day. But between lunches, like I can't move lunch back until the kids are eating at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So like we're gonna try it with it at the end of the day, and you guys can let me know. I'm a pretty easy person to talk to. You can text message me and tell me if you think it's horrible, but we have to at least attempt it this one time, or it's not gonna ever happen. So. Try your best to keep them happy and do Destination Decade stuff that week, and we'll go from there. After testing week is over, we changed 0 hour from being Tuesday and Friday to being Tuesday and Wednesday because there were a lot of people last year that were out on Fridays, and that was really hard for me to try to get Miss Edgerton and Miss Dana, who's not with us anymore, into all those classrooms, and their kids were falling all over the universe trying to figure out what to do with their lives. So we changed it to Tuesday and Wednesday with the hopes that more people will be present in school to teach their children for those days. And after the testing week, it's the second bell schedule on that list, which has 0 hour between first and second as usual if you were here last year. Yes? Positive? Please remember, you could put a giant highlight on that page right now. You have to take really excellent attendance first period that day, all of those days, because the phone call will go to parents saying that your child is not in school during the middle of 0 hour, and Kristen will only have first period attendance in Power School, so she has no way to cross-check to see if there are kids that were marked here that aren't, / not here that are.
You're still sending a
We're still sending the paper attendance down, and she does check them, but like that's a lot of people. It's usually about a half hour, 45 minutes of time before the phone call goes out. So just take really, really good first period attendance. I'm terrible at attendance, so I can say just work hard on it that week. Just try. Okay, if you go to the next page, it should be colorful. I like colors. Color makes me happy. It should be like bright yellow, bright orange, bright green, something like that. That's terrifying. What is happening to my life right now? Teach me this.
I was like, oh, that's
I got nothing, man. Dr. Cams and I are not friends. Okay, we're gonna try. See what happens. This is your Bible for 0 hour. This is what 0 hour will look like for you every single day. This is my attempt to keep you from having to do anything extra for 0 hour. Yay! Thanks, Heather. You rock. Okay, so you have a nice little calendar. It looks like the one you just looked at, only less complicated because it begins and ends with Destination Decades. There's no other fluffy stuff in there like when they sign up for groups. So this you can write all over. You can write comments and questions on. You can never look at it again. That's fine. And then you will start with Monday, 0 hour number 1. And I have written down for you suggested deadlines for your children. So what should your kids be doing the first day? They should get their packet from you. We'll look at that in a second. They should be working on social contracts, and they should answer the questions for 0 hour 1 in their packets before they give that packet back to you. And it also tells you what they're going to do tomorrow. That's helpful, so you can say, hey kids, just remember, you're going to do this tomorrow. And then maybe they will remember to like bring the stuff with them that they will need to do that. So the next day is easy. They'll finish their contracts. They'll get their project from you. But then after that, they're gonna have to start bringing things. Then there is a suggested lesson plan. I am a person who doesn't like to follow rules. Sorry. And I get really angsty about giving lesson plans, but you can change this, but I suggest you don't. And I suggest that you follow this because a lot of the struggles that we had last year were teachers who didn't really know what was going on with the calendar. It was hard to follow last year. It wasn't really clearly laid out. So then they were like, wait, I don't get it. Like, what are my kids supposed to be doing today? I gave you that information. So you can follow this to the letter. You can bring them into class and do boom, boom, boom all the way down until the end of class. And whatever you don't finish, do tomorrow, or work in what you want to work in. But this is here for you, so you don't have to think too hard. It tells you exactly what's going on.
Well, like last year, Tessa sent out
PowerPoints too. Do you want me to do that?
I don't, do they work from last year or are they all different?
They're totally different, just because we have more time. But I can make them again.
I don't know.
Okay, I can do PowerPoints too. I'm super bad at notebooks, but I'll try. And then, but this, you could even just doc cam this. Nothing on this list is not student friendly, so you could just doc cam it and go over it with them. But I will do PowerPoints. You might have to remind me once, but I'll do them. And then the same thing continues. So the very next day it says, what are your students doing today and what are your students doing tomorrow? And there's a suggested lesson plan. I also wrote at the bottom when you will be grading and when you won't be. The student packets have daily 10-point grades. A lot of teachers just collect the packet in the last 5 minutes of class and grade while you're getting them because it's 10 points. It's did they write a complete sentence or not? Did they answer the questions? Did they put effort in? How are they working today, etc. So it's pretty easy to just hit the 9 or hit the 10 or whatever they need to do. Obviously, if you would rather be more present with them and you're working with a group and you want to just save it, just do it later. That's fine. I don't care when you get them graded as long as you get them graded. But there are days when there's going to be no grading because the points are combined with tomorrow's questions. So it just tells you that in advance. And this continues. You can keep flipping through it. They are day by day by day. And hopefully they all make sense. It's in the folder that you can see. Okay, can you go to 0 hour number 10, Wednesday, May 6th?
I'm sorry, which day again?
Number 10, Wednesday, May 6th.
Thank you.
Yep. So one thing to keep in mind as 0 hour winds down as we get to the end of the project is the kids who are doing digital projects in your classroom. I need you to be focused on those kids. They have to submit those projects to you, and that is on their shoulders as equally as it is on ours. If they have decided that they want to create the next biggest music video since heaven on their phone, and they have IDK, how to get it off their phone, then we cannot grade it, and we cannot do anything with it. So this is a suggestion. This is a 1 week before everything ends, that you start talking to your kids about how they're going to get those projects to you. Are you going to bring your cord in? Are you going to download it to your computer? Are you going to upload it to YouTube? Are you going to bring it in on a USB drive? Are you going to email it to me? You should email it to me today because guess what? Our emails don't like big files, so they usually don't come through even if they say sent on the kid's phone. So they need to not wait until the last day to pretend to hit send and then have a freak out about whether or not it's getting to you. They need to do that now, like immediately, and then okay, yep, I got it, you're good, don't worry about it anymore. So this is the day you need to start talking to them about that. And yes, your fellow teachers can help you if you're not tech savvy, but I cannot take all 80 children in my classroom like I did last year. I'm not the only person that knows how to work an iPhone in this building. So please ask your neighbors and then ask me if necessary, but share the load a little bit here and have them, they need to be responsible for this. At the end of the day, it's their project. They have to get it to you or we can't grade it. Yes.
One of the things that I did with the kids recently was they had their videos uploaded to YouTube when they sent me the link.
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
Yes. 110%. Links are fine. Yes.
Does the permission slip that they're signing allow them to? Is there a clause in there that kind of allows them to upload to YouTube for I'm just thinking about that media release form, and when we get kids that we don't
No,
have.
just relying on whatever we already have.
Okay.
That's it. And it does say if they're going to do tech projects or social media projects, they have to get it approved by their mentor. So we can double check
also
that.
make YouTube videos
Private.
private and only viewable if you have the link.
That's
Right
true.
on.
So we
just
could
make
suggest
a
that.
requirement if you
Yeah,
don't
I'd
do
feel
it.
better if we did.
Cool. All right. Let's do that then. If they're gonna do a YouTube video, keep it private and then shareable by link.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Amanda. Thanks, Derek. Okay. So the last thing that we should look at is the tiny little packet that Mr. Larson gave you on the way in today. So this is what the student version of what you just did looks like. It's in small form this year, so they don't waste a lot of paper. And they will have their group number on it because their group number is necessary for grading, so they need to keep track of that. You will get their group number on a roster from me, so that's not guesswork. You'll have it, they'll have it, and somebody in between those two people will get it onto this piece of paper. And then theirs looks surprisingly like yours, so it tells them what is due that day and what needs to be done by the end of class tomorrow. And then there are some questions. And then there's a grading little line for you. And again, I don't have a problem, whatever it works for you. If you want to grade day by day, if you don't feel comfortable with them seeing their grades and you'd rather save it till the end and then you get to grade it all on your own, there is a deadline for when I need these grades. I'll be sending you that by email, but you decide. Whatever works in your classroom, go for it. Rock on. Okay? But there are 10 of them. They're each 10 points, and then they get added up to be 100.
Okay, since I'm new.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
every student has one of these little packets.
They will get that from you, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And then, so each one, this is where you can record the grade, and then they'll take this and turn it into whoever needs it.
No, you'll have it. You will have all of this. You'll have their grade, and then towards the end of this process, I stand in front of you again, and I tell you about these cool Google forms that you will go in and put the kid's name in, and then put the grade. But I don't want to do that today because that's a lot of information, and that's like a month and a half from now.
Okay.
So I'll stand in front of you again and make funny jokes that aren't funny, and then I'll tell you how to put the grades in. But you will have this, and you will have all the points, and you will add them up and set them into the computer.
Okay.
And you will have help. Yes, thank you. And you will have help. I promise.
These stay in our room. They don't go home with kids.
Yeah, last year I kind of left it up to teachers, like, yeah, you can let them take them home, and then it was like every single day, can I have more copies? And like, I could print them out last year, but I can't make these in my classroom. So, no, you keep these, please, or you make copies of them for yourself if you don't need them.
Are you going to put a class set? Like
You will get these. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, last year what happens, if you don't remember from last year and if you're new, after they do group signups and they pick their groups and the English department does that, and after they pick their projects and the English department does that, and after the teams assign kids to mentors at that early release day, which you'll get an email from me about, I give you a roster, and the roster has kid, and group number, and project, and I give you copies of the projects, and I give you these student booklets. So you get that in a little bundle from me for day one, and it's like your survival kit for that day. So you don't have to worry about that. You just get it from me. Good so far? Okay. Anybody have any questions about this? Because it is huge and big and giant, and I wasn't really sure how much you guys needed to be recalled from last year because you did it pretty well last year. But I don't know. Okay. So please read my emails. Usually I offer candy as a reward for reading all the way to the bottom and answering the stupid trivia question or sending me a smiley in response. And I actually give candy. I promise. People here can tell you that I really do give candy. So like, read them because sometimes they're like important. I don't email you about yoga. I email you about like links and stuff. So like, please read my emails. Please, from the bottom of my heart, read my emails. I know it's hard. I get it, but try to read them. Yes? Yes? Okay, thank you. Am I launching today too? Do you need to say anything? Okay, Amanda's going to help me hand out balloons. And I need you to blow up your balloon and write your name on it. And then we have a game to play. Because you love me. Even when you hate me.
Well.
Most of the time. Everybody needs a balloon. I'll come talk to you about it. You don't need to blow them up that much, but enough that you can write your name on it. Stretch them out ahead.
I can try to help you.
You doing good? There's a mark there. She'd like to have it. Is that a lot?
I always stretch them out. Makes it easier on my mind. All I have to say is I cheated. I didn't even have to blow it up whenever I got my name on it. Neither needed that.
There's a marker in the middle of the table. You should be able to write your name.
I have a hole in mine already. Amanda, you want more? I have a hole.
Mr. Lacari. As much as you want. You don't have to make it. Okay, when you have written your name on it, I want you to go put it in the room back there and then come sit down. Put it anywhere.
Oh no, what's worse is the little.
Now we're gonna be playing.
I stepped on a bunch of them one time when I was out there.
Well, if you have your name on it, go put it back there in that room.
I really hate the balloons. I always have the tears from my face
Here's a
when I'm
marker.
going up. Well, the time's easy, but well, you gotta use two fingers. That's the trick. Two fingers and then you don't need. I don't know if that room's small enough.
I do have a fear of the problem.
Yeah. Thank you. That.
Ah.
Yeah. I might have to borrow your money.
Lock the tables.
Oh, I thought this was other.
You want these back or
Next is by the door.
keep them in our folder?
You can throw the old ones out. It's the same information, it's just in a different order to make more sense of how I did it.
What are we supposed to do?
Go put them in the back room and then come sit down. That's fine.
Is there candy today?
No, I slacked today.
So the English department makes the group. You don't have to pick.
They are picking, but we're the ones in charge of that.
Okay, so do we just have to, like, are they picking before we even get to 0 hour?
Yeah, you don't have to pay attention to Destination Decades again until one early release and then the day it starts. Okay. That's the purpose of the packet. Okay. So you don't have to pay attention to it. When I get a special
We won't read emails.
I don't read yoga emails because that's bad. I refuse. Yoga's great. It hurts. Yoga's great. Mr. Knapp, are you okay?
Yeah, fine.
That's why I have this chat here helping me because I'm afraid of balloons. So I wanted to do this game, but I'm scared of them, so she's doing all the hard stuff. She's like touching them. I can't do that. Okay, so we're gonna play a game now, and I'm gonna time you. Actually, somebody's gonna time you. Anybody have a phone available? Alright, Mr. Costa is gonna time you. And what I need for you to do is go into the room, get your balloon, and sit down as fast as possible. The time begins now. Go, 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 go! Come on, Miss Bitterman, go, go, go! Come on, Mrs. Mulligan. Come on. Yes, Miss Bitterman, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Everybody go, everybody go, everybody go. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I know, it's true. Wait, 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 it's not done yet. Now they'll sit down. Okay, how much time?
About 36 seconds.
Fantastic. Okay, so the next part of this game requires you putting the balloons back. Are you okay with that?
No.
Put them back. You don't have to race. You don't have to race. You don't have to race. No. You just have to put them in there. Go mix this up.
Again?
Yes.
They're throwing them now.
Okay, that's fine.
You realize it's 4:30 in the afternoon, right?
It's 4:20. 9:20. I'm making this less than an hour, this meeting of ours. Alright, so I heard something really interesting from over here. Miss Wilson, did you actually take your balloon all the way to the room?
No, the second no.
Who took it for you?
Miss Mulligan.
Okay, so we're gonna try this game in a slightly different way. Everybody's gonna go get any balloon. And as soon as you get back, you're gonna try and give it to the person it belongs to. I wanna see if teamwork works better than individuality. Go. Yes, go.
Was I bad?
Take any balloon. Go, 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 go! Sit down! Let's go, let's go, let's go!
So intense.
Come on, we can get out of here.
I grabbed Jeff's and turned around, he's got mine.
Go, 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 go! Sit down, sit down, sit down! You guys are walking slower this time. Come on now. Come on. Go, 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 go! Okay, how much time? I'm gonna blame the time difference on the walking slow people because that was a super bummer. But I've done this with youth group before, and when my youth group kids do it, their first instinct is like, I'm gonna be the first person in my seat. Like, we're gonna make this happen, right? Like, that is my balloon over there with the extra big giant lump on the top of it, right? Like, over there, right? That's mine, and I'm gonna get it, and I don't care whose balloon I have to step on to get there, right? Like, whatever. That's why I'm over here, not over here. Yeah, like, I don't care if that kid's name gets wiped off because there's only an expo marker and not Sharpie. It doesn't matter, right? Like, I'm just gonna go get it. But when youth group kids do it, it always goes faster the second time when you just go get a balloon and you hand it to someone else. Because at the end of the day, what matters is that everybody has their balloon in their seat, and not that you got back to your seat first, right? It's how much time we take as a group. So I hope that you read my emails because I'm trying to get balloons to you. And I'm trying to get good balloons that are filled with candy to you, so like really read them. And then have a great day. Bye.
Please don't leave these in your